Welcome to Silver Chuckles, where laughter doesn't wrinkle, it sparkles. If you're over 50 and still know how to laugh until your dentures rattle, you're in the right place. We serve comedy the old-fashioned way, with heart, wit, and just a pinch of what in the world just happened. Hit that subscribe button and let the chuckles begin. It's 3:17 a.m., and somewhere in suburban America, a 73-year-old woman named Dorothy is locked in mortal combat with a device smaller than her compact mirror. She's been wrestling with her new iPhone for exactly 4 hours and 32 minutes, and at this point, she's convinced it's plotting against her. The phone has somehow managed to order 3 cases of cat food from Amazon, change her ringtone to death metal, and, most mysteriously, started following 17 TikTok accounts dedicated to something called thirst traps. Dorothy doesn't even know what that means, but she's pretty sure it's not about staying hydrated. Now, before you start thinking this is just another technology is hard for old people story, let me stop you right there. This is actually the epic tale of what happens when unstoppable force meets immovable object, except the unstoppable force is a grandmother's determination to figure out why her phone keeps buzzing, and the immovable object is Apple's idea of intuitive design. Dorothy's journey began 3 weeks ago when her well-meaning grandson Tyler decided she needed to join the 21st century. Because apparently, having survived the Great Depression, raised 4 children, and mastered the art of making a Thanksgiving dinner for 23 people wasn't quite enough technological prowess for one lifetime. Let's be clear about something. Dorothy is no technological slouch. This is a woman who programmed her VCR to record The Price is Right every single day from 1987 to 2019 without missing a single episode. She can operate a washing machine that has more settings than a NASA control panel. And she once fixed her neighbor's microwave using nothing but a butter knife and what she calls common sense mixed with a healthy dose of stubbornness. But somehow, this tiny computer masquerading as a telephone has become her digital Mount Everest. The first sign of trouble came during what Tyler optimistically called the tutorial. He spent 2 hours explaining concepts like swipe up, pinch to zoom, and double tap, which to Dorothy sounded less like phone instructions and more like dance moves she'd never learned. Tyler kept saying things like, "It's super intuitive, Grandma," while Dorothy nodded politely and wondered when exactly intuition started requiring a master's degree in electrical engineering. By the end of the lesson, she had accidentally activated Siri 17 times, somehow enabled a setting that made everything speak in what sounded like robot Shakespeare, and inadvertently joined a group chat called Lit Fam Squad Goals with people she'd never met. But Dorothy didn't become the woman who once talked her way out of a parking ticket by complimenting the officer's mustache by giving up easily. She approached this smartphone situation with the same methodical precision she used for her famous 7-layer salad. She bought a book called Smartphones for Seniors, that was approximately the thickness of a phone book, which, ironically, was something she actually knew how to use. She attended a class at the community center called Silver Surfers, where 12 other bewildered grandparents gathered weekly to collectively wonder why their phones kept showing them advertisements for products they'd mentioned in conversations but never actually searched for. The class was led by a perky 20-something named Madison who kept using phrases like digital native and user experience optimization, while Dorothy and her classmates exchanged looks that said, "Is she speaking English?" Madison would chirp things like, "Just think of apps as little helpers on your phone," which made Dorothy wonder why these helpers were so aggressively unhelpful. The weather app insisted it was sunny when it was clearly raining. The map app tried to direct her through a construction zone that had been closed for 6 months, and something called Candy Crush had apparently charged her credit card $47.99 for what she could only assume were very expensive imaginary candies. Then came what Dorothy now refers to as the incident. While trying to take a simple photo of her cat, Mr. Whiskers, for what Tyler had taught her was called sharing, Dorothy managed to activate approximately every feature the phone possessed simultaneously. The camera flipped to selfie mode just as she was leaning in close, the flash went off like a tiny lightning bolt, Siri started reading her the weather forecast for Bangkok, the phone began playing a playlist called Bangers and Mash at maximum volume, and somehow, and this part she still doesn't understand, the whole catastrophe was broadcast live on something called Instagram to her 14 followers, most of whom were equally confused relatives. But here's where our story takes an unexpected turn. That accidental live stream, featuring Dorothy's startled face, Mr. Whisker's panicked escape, and her increasingly creative attempts to make everything stop while Thai weather updates echoed in the background, somehow became what the internet calls content gold. Within hours, she had gone from 14 followers to 14,000, and people were commenting things like, "Dorothy is my spirit animal," and "This is the most relatable thing I've ever seen." Apparently, her authentic bewilderment had struck a chord with fellow smartphone sufferers worldwide. 6 weeks later, Dorothy has not only mastered her smartphone but has inadvertently become what Tyler calls an influencer. Her Instagram account, @DorothyDecodesLife, features daily videos of her explaining technology in terms that actually make sense to people over 50. Her most popular video, "Why does my phone know I need reading glasses before I do?" has over 500,000 views. She's turned her technological struggles into a teaching opportunity, proving that sometimes the best way to learn something is to first completely, spectacularly fail at it in front of thousands of strangers. The real victory, though, came last Tuesday when she successfully video called her great-grandchildren in Oregon, managed to show them her garden through the phone's camera, and even figured out how to use those little cartoon faces that Tyler calls emojis to send them digital hugs. She still occasionally butt dials people and has yet to understand why her phone thinks she wants to buy cryptocurrency. But she's made peace with the fact that technology is less about perfection and more about persistence. So the next time you see someone over 50 squinting at their phone, holding it like it might explode, or accidentally taking a selfie when they meant to hang up, remember Dorothy's story. She discovered that the real secret to conquering technology isn't about being young or naturally gifted. It's about being stubborn enough to keep trying until something clicks, humble enough to laugh at your mistakes, and wise enough to know that sometimes the best way to join the 21st century is to drag it kicking and screaming into your world instead of the other way around. And if you'll excuse me, I need to go figure out why my smart TV keeps suggesting I watch something called Squid Game, when I clearly searched for squid recipes. Some battles, it seems, are universal. Subscribe to Silver Chuckles for more stories.